Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and 2 years ago today, we went on an adventure like no others because Pokémon Legends Arceus came out. This was a game unlike any other Pokémon game ever. We went back in time to the olden days of the Sinnoh Region. Oops, I meant to say the Hisui Region. We joined the Galactic team in order to create the very first Pokédex with Professor Laverton. I gotta say, going back to the past was an amazing idea. I don't think that they could have picked a better region for this. But we learned a lot of skills there. We learned how to take on noble Pokemon, we learned how to jump and dodge, and we even learned how to craft things like our very own Pokeballs out of apricots. We even got to learn how to make our own medicine. But one thing that I really loved a lot about the game is that we got to meet our ancestors. The Sinnoh region has had an amazing lore since Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and I'm glad that we got to learn even more about it. The Sinnoh region is one of the most well-known regions of all time, and for some of us, it was even some of our very first regions ever. When this game first came out, it's like Arceus was telling us straight off the bat, this is Pokemon, but not as you know it. Prepare for something even greater. For those of us who really love the Sinnoh region and did so much research into the lore, who would have guessed that we were missing so much more back in the days of Hisui? With Pokemon Day almost a month away, I really want to get another Legends game. There are so many regions we have, and there's gotta be a lot more of the lore that we missed. This game really taught us a lot about what we've been missing for the Sinnoh region. Well, I think that maybe we should look back about this entire game and see what makes it so much different from all others. Pokemon Legends Arceus was announced on Pokemon Day 2021, which was also the 25th year of Pokemon. While the game looked amazing for all of us, I think that a lot of us were a little bit skeptical. Not just was this a game unlike any other Pokemon game, but just a few minutes before this had been announced, the Sinnoh remakes of Diamond and Pearl with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were also announced. So yeah, they were kind of taking on a big risk. After all, we've been wanting Sinnoh remakes, and now we're getting a bunch of Sinnoh games. Well, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out first, and they really did not exceed our expectations. While they were fun to go back to, we really were hoping for something better. That's where Pokemon Legends Arceus came in. When that game came out, it blew our minds. Not only was there nothing quite like it, but at the same time, this is what we really wanted. We wanted to know more about the Sinnoh region, but we didn't even know how much more that we had been missing. Other than having the amazing free roaming mechanic so we could experience how big the Hisui region is, what made Pokemon Legends Arceus much different than any other Pokemon game we'd gotten is the fact that we weren't trainers. We were Survey Corps working for the Galaxy team, all trying to help Professor Laverton create the very first Pokédex ever. Pokemon Legends Arceus is also considered a core series game, and what makes it much different is there's no gym leaders and no trials, there's no Elite Four, and there's not even a champion. All your goal is trying to complete the very first Pokédex with Professor Laverton. On an also cool note, you learn how to make your own Pokeballs and your own medicine with a really impressive crafting system. So yeah, instead of buying items like you normally do, this game actually teaches you how to make everything. Pokemon is known for making a lot of colorful characters, and we sure met a lot in the Hisui region, and some of them look very familiar to the ones that we know in the Sinnoh region. But out of all the characters we met, I think the ones that really struck a chord the most with me are none other than Professor Laverton, as well as the two leaders, Adaman and Inrita. Oh, and of course, the man himself, Volo. What makes Professor Laverton really stand out from most other Pokemon professors is he follows you almost everywhere you go when you go on these missions. Most of the times, the professors stay back and chill in the labs, but he really did feel like he was following with us everywhere. I also really liked that he was the one that had the camera. What also made him really cool is that if you managed to find a shiny Pokemon, he would also snap a picture of it, and he would also keep it in the Pokedex. So yeah, this really makes him a much different Pokemon professor than others we know. The inclusion of a Diamond clan and a Pearl clan was also a really nice touch, as well as a very nice reference to the original games that came before. Both Adaman and Arita were both really good leaders. I thought that it was pretty nice to see that we didn't have a villainous team, but rather two people that separated from which they believe is the real legendary of the region. I also like that sometimes you could even go on missions for some of the admins there. it does make you kind of wonder, if you were back in time, which clan would you have chosen? But I think the character that really steals the show for all of us is Volo. I like how he turns out to be the hidden antagonist. Then again, I kind of like the idea that Cyrus's ancestor is the good guy and Cynthia's ancestor is the bad guy. Of course, that final battle with him and Giratina was one of the greatest ones you could ever have. But I'm not entirely that surprised about it. After all, we've known that Cynthia has had a connection with Giratina since Platinum, and I think it's pretty cool to see where that first connection with Giratina began with her family line. There are so many great things about Pokemon Legends Arceus that truly make it a cut above the rest. Currently, there's no other game quite like it, and it did a lot of really new things, so here's a few things that I really enjoyed about the game. First of all, I loved Generation 7. While, like many others, I missed gym leaders, I will say that I had a lot of fun taking on Totem Pokemon. So, seeing them once again as Noble Pokemon was a lot of fun and something I really enjoyed. I can say that some of these fights really had me stumped and really were hard, but all in all, this was one of the most enjoyable parts of the game. The free roaming mechanic that Sword and Shield had introduced to the world of Pokemon was put on full display, and it was awesome! I don't think I had ever played a game where I felt how vast the region was. At most times, I do feel that I'm in a big region. This was the first time I really felt how huge a region can be for a game. Everywhere I went, felt like nothing could hold me back. I felt like I could go forward as far as I wanted, I could go anywhere I wanted, and nothing could stop me. Ride Pokemon was another feature I really enjoyed in Generation 7, so I was extremely happy that they brought it back. There were so many great ride Pokemon we had, whether we were dashing really fast on Weirdeer, on Ursaluna's back trying to find items, using Basculegion to get us across the seas, with Sneasler helping us free climb, or soaring high in the sky with Braviary. Every one of our Hisuian partners really came through for all of us. Out of every character I met in the Hisui region, other than Volo, I think Silene is the one character that always stood out to me. Mainly for the fact that she's a tough character who has a great no-nonsense attitude. And also, I really do like that she looks very similar to Cyrus. But I can honestly understand why she's really tough towards you. You just fell out of the sky, and do you really think everyone's just going to accept you off the bat just like most people do? Well, I also have to say, I like that after you catch 3 Pokemon, she finally allows you to join the Galaxy team. But I also really like that she's the one who expels you from Jubilite Village, which really was a crazy moment, but I kind of do really like the idea that this game is a little more brutal than others. I love regional variants, and seeing that we had Hisuian regional variants made it a lot of fun. So many Pokemon looked really cool back in the times of the Hisui region. It's just sad to say that many of them unfortunately went extinct. But one thing I love the most about Pokemon Legends Arceus is the music. Pokemon games usually go all out with the music, but this game went beyond. And it's like the music is saying, this is Pokemon, but not as you know it. Prepare for something more. Not just are they beautiful to listen to, but they're all songs from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum games given enhancements with a powerful orchestra. Just listen to them carefully. Some of them actually still have hints of the old songs, and some of them are different and beautiful renditions. All in all, when you listen to them, you'll remember the good old days of the DS era. While Pokemon Legends Arceus is such a great game, and I regard it as a masterpiece, there is unfortunately a few problems that I really have with this game. The first of which is the origin forms for Dialga and Palkia. We've been waiting since Pokemon Platinum for all 3 members to get origin forms, and this is what we got? If you're one who likes them, that's fine. But seeing Dialga and Palkia's origin forms, in my opinion, is a slap in the face. They gave Giratina one, and it's one of the best ones ever. It went from being a cool legendary to being one of the greatest designs. Honestly, I think there's a reason why Dialga and Palkia's origin forms were not in the other games. Sometimes, some things are best left forgotten in the past. While the battle system was really fun, at times I could find it really annoying, as I oftentimes got the short end of the stick, as I could only attack once while my opponent or a wild Pokemon had a double turn. I feel that this should have been the normal 1 move, 1 turn deal instead of sometimes 2 moves. Yes, I know that sometimes you can get lucky, but it rarely happened to me, and it was annoying to watch my Pokemon faint and oftentimes miss. This was the first game our characters actually spoke. While they only gave a few grunts, that was more than anything we had ever gotten from our characters. I just feel that this game was incomplete without voices. While we finally talked with these little grunts, I think that this could have been the first Pokemon Switch game to have voice actors. Maybe it's just me, but I really would have loved to have heard all the others talk. I do understand why it didn't happen, as they didn't have the budget, but the fact that they gave us grunts and no one else a voice really is upsetting. But by far, my biggest problem with Pokemon Legends Arceus is not the game, it's not the gameplay, not the characters, the plot, none of that. What it is the time. While I'm glad in 2022 we also got Generation 9 with the Paldea games Scarlet and Violet, I wish the Pokemon Company had let Pokemon Legends Arceus shine longer. It was only 1 month that it had been out, and they decided to drop the announcement of a new game? I get it. It was Pokemon Day 2022, but they really should have given Pokemon Legends Arceus way more time to shine. This is why I really believe that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet should have come out in 2023. All in all, and all things considered, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a masterpiece, and 2 years later, it still shines just as bright as it did when it first came out. It's a Pokemon adventure like no other, and I truly don't want it to be the only of its kind. With almost 30 years of Pokemon, I really want to go back in time to other regions and explore them in the past. Arceus proved to us that even though we think we know enough about the past of the Sinnoh region, we're barely scratching the surface. If you feel like going back to the past, then go for it. Sometimes the past is the greatest place to be stuck in. Go back in time, learn about your ancestors, and also learn how one of the greatest regions ever came to be. Pokemon Legends Arceus isn't just any Pokemon game. It's a love letter to the Sinnoh region, and it's also a love letter to Sinnoh fans. Out of all regions that we could have gone back to, they chose the most perfect one, Hisui, which would one day change its name to honor the almighty one, Sinnoh. I think that Legends Arceus not only is a great game and a masterpiece, but it has so much replay value. You can go back to your normal file and even find things that you missed. I feel that this is a game that you can play so many times and still find new things every playthrough. So yeah, if they make another Legends game, I'll happily welcome it in open arms. I really enjoyed Pokemon Legends Arceus. But now I have a few questions for all of you. Do you think that in Pokemon Legends Arceus, the free roaming mechanic was done perfectly? Or do you think that they improved it better in Scarlet and Violet? Or is there still more room for improvement if they make Generation 10? Since we've really gotten to know Dialga and Palkia over the years, do you think that this game should have given more light to the 3 Lake Guardians? Or do you think that they had enough time to shine for this game? Or do they need more? Did you enjoy catching yourself Sinnoh starters in the wild? Also, who is your first starter in the Sinnoh games? Oh, and on another note, did you really like having Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott as starters? If so, who is your favorite, and who do you think had the best Hisuian form for Final Stage? What was your favorite gimmick of the Hisui region? Did you like the battle styles with the agile style and the strong style? Or were you one who really liked the idea of having alpha Pokemon? Or did you like both of them the exact same way? Who is your favorite Hisuian Pokemon as well as favorite Hisuian form? Also, did you like having ride Pokemon like in Generation 7 and also taking on the noble Pokemon like when we took on Totem Pokemon? And if we ever get another Pokemon Legends game, what region should it be based on and what should it be called? Who should the starters be? And also, who should be the mascot or the one Pokemon that we know that this game is based on? Like I said, I really don't want Pokemon Legends Arceus to be the only of its kind. I really liked games in the past, like Pokémon Conquest. Let's hope that maybe in a Pokemon Day in the future, we'll get ourselves another Pokemon Legends game. When that'll be, I don't know. But if you liked what you saw, please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions I threw at you, you want me to do another retrospective video, you want me to go back to my normal videos of talking about a Pokemon, or you want me to do another pseudo-study video or champion, then please comment. And as always, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. I hope that you had a wonderful time back in the olden days of the Hisui. I hope that maybe you want to play again. Well, if you do, I hope that you enjoy your time in the past. Thanks for watching, trainers. Palm out!